There's even a study saying that 13 minutes of workout a day can really improve
13?
13 minutes, which is nothing. Just be yourself and just convey what you've done to get where you are today. And that's how you're going to stand out.
Nikias, aka Papa Muscle, started lifting weights 20 years ago, and now he's lifting brands too. From getting bullied as a kid to building SEO engines that drive millions of visits, he's learned what real growth takes: discipline, patience, and a whole lot of truth-telling. Whether it's ranking on Google or in life, he's not here for shortcuts, just real results.
In a span of a month, they went from 150,000 to 1 million visitors. This is 1 million. That was the craziest growth I've ever seen in SEO.
What?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
insane. They published a lot of content at the same time. It was well linked together.
Do you see any difference, any commonality between these two disciplines, fitness and SEO, and how do you think they are similar, and how can people apply it in their lives?
SEO and fitness takes a lot of time before seeing results. And that's the strong commonality between the two, is that you can do a lot of work for a long period of time and not see anything until at some point it just kicks in.
What do you think about link building? In my mind, link building has become more important due to AI overviews.
Google has always said that authority was not a ranking factor, but we know for sure that that's a lie.
If you were to go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self? Hey, Nikias, how you doing?
Hi, very good. What about yourself?
I'm good. I'm having a great morning, and we had a great chat before the show started about fitness and like SEO. Let's backtrack a little bit and share with us, like, how did you get here? How did you start either fitness and or search engine optimization?
About my fitness journey, I'm not actually quite sure why I started. I know when it started. It was during the summer when I moved from middle school to high school. Yeah, I started doing like a lot of bodyweight exercises. So that was about 20 years ago. Actually, this year would be 20 years ago, which is crazy when I think about it. Never stopped. And I'm not sure. I mean, I've been bullied when I was in middle school. And so a lot of people would say that that's probably the trigger and the reason why I wanted to exercise. But actually, when I thought about it, because I thought about it on my side, I didn't find a connection between the two. I didn't feel like this was the drive. I think it's more that I've always been a sports guy since I'm a kid. I've been playing so many different sports, whether it's football, water polo, riding a horse. And I think that, when you're 14 with the testosterone and teenager, this is the kind of sport that you want to try out. And I just loved it, and especially the feeling. And that's probably why I started it. And then also in 2006, there was the movie 300 with Gerard Butler portraying King Leonidas. And I said, like, I want to be like this guy. And that was kind of like my driver. And it's funny because most people were exercising. Usually their idol is more like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Chris Bumstead, for example. But to me, that was really King Leonidas. And it's funny. It's kind of shaped me because you see, I'm not competing or anything. I'm doing and exercising for my health. And I think it's a big part of why I started. And about SEO, it started when I moved to the UK because, so just to give you a little bit of background, I'm French. I grew up in France. Then I was fed up with the country for a lot of reasons. And I finished my study in the UK, and then I joined an American company there. And they were trying to implement the business in Europe, and they hired me because I was speaking French and English. And so I had to work on the website on some SEO aspects, and I was also on the field. So that's how I got my nose into it. And then on the side, I started creating my website, which at that time was Rushcop Fitness, which is another nickname that I had. And I was, again, really passionate about creating content and optimizing it, which is SEO at the end. And that's how I got there, which was like, about 10 years ago.
That's fantastic. So you've been through a lot of you have an extensive experience in SEO and also fitness. One, I guess, lifestyle question. Do you see any difference, any commonality between these two disciplines, fitness and SEO, and how do you think they are similar, and how can people apply it in their lives?
You have to be very disciplined. I mean, SEO is like kind of regularity, just like you work out. And it's funny because SEO and fitness takes a lot of time before seeing results. And that's the strong commonality between the two, is that you can do a lot of work for a long period of time and not see anything until some point it just kicks in. And that's really the two things. And I think that being in the fitness environment for such a long time helped me hop into the SEO world, because you know that what you're doing right now is going to pay off later. And it's really hard. I mean, most people, and especially nowadays, they want everything instantly. So having these things that go together really helps you to know that, okay, that doesn't matter. I'm building the foundation, and like in 1 year, 1 year and a half, even 2 years, it's going to pay off.
I think that, discipline is one thing, and also consistency that I see that people need for SEO and fitness. And so one thing about fitness, though, is that since 2020, it has been a very competitive niche for either affiliates or even e-com businesses. How do you make sure that your companies are standing out in this competitive space?
I'm actually being yourself. That's the main thing. I mean, obviously there are general guidelines. There are so many studies now on hypertrophy, but I also know so many people that achieve different results with different methods, which means that if it worked for them, it could potentially work for someone else. I know that the opposite is true, but it could definitely work for someone else, which means that your own journey makes you stand apart in this environment because no one can copy you. No one can copy your past. And so that's kind of how you stand out. Is I think in anything you do, you have to do your work yourself. And with the failures, there are also the wins. And so when you get the win, that's your personal journey, and that's what you can share. And even if someone has a similar journey to you, you're still unique and different. The way you explain, the way you talk, the way you say things. And, we've all been there where you have two different people kind of saying the same thing. And for whatever reason, there's one person you prefer over the other. So just be yourself and just convey what you've done to get where you are today. And that's how you're going to stand out.
See, in terms of SEO, do you find that you have to do more content or more links in order to stand out in the SERP?
Not necessarily, actually. I mean, you do need those, obviously, but I don't think it's the main factor. I think the eat factor is the most important there. And what I mean by eat, I'm talking real expertise and not just the line at the bottom of your article saying, this article has been written by a team of experts. I mean, actually, it's a funny, I have a story about this. Is one of our competitors, that's what they started doing like 2 years ago. Their traffic was behind us, but they were still like driving about 100 to 150,000 people every month to the website. And then it started like creating a lot of different articles, very well optimized, very well structured and all, and putting it at the bottom of the article, like written by a team of experts. And then in a span of a month, they went from 150,000 to 1 million visitors. This is 1 million. That was the craziest growth I've ever seen in SEO.
What?
Yeah, that was insane. They published a lot of content at the same time. It was well linked together. They invested in a lot of backlinks too. That is EAT, and in 2023, the EAT was just more, exactly. It didn't mean what it means nowadays, where I'm getting to now. You could just say, I'm an expert, even though you can't show it, and then it works. But 2 years later, so 2025, so our website is still growing, not a big spike like what happened to them, but it's steady because we're putting real experts writing the article with the name. They are showcased on, newspapers and TV and so forth. And this website, the traffic is going down because, that doesn't cut it anymore, just to slap something at the bottom of the article. You have to show that you have real expertise, and it can only happen when you have real people, real guests showing, again, the expertise in the topic.
I see. How do you convince experts to come and give you guys a good blog post? Because I used to do SEO within an agency, and we always look for subject matter experts in a field of recycling. And I remember it was just so hard to convince an actual researcher to contribute to our little blog.
Yeah, it could be tough. One way, obviously, is like pay them. That's one way, obviously. If you have the means.
Do you have a good rate that you would suggest to people to start with?
It depends. It's so hard to say because it depends on the expert. It depends on the industry. Depends on the competition. So many factors that comes into play. But another thing that help a lot is the values of your company. When you have strong values and pillars, they're well defined and they can relate to this, they tend to come even sometimes for free. So there's always a conversation, always happen, but it doesn't have to be financial. It could be, in our case, for example, supplements, where they get regular supplements every month. And that happens because they believe in our products, because they know the quality of it. So that's how you convince them, because we didn't create a brand just for the sake of it and for the money. We did it because we genuinely wanted to help people with their health and their life. So that helps a lot to bring experts because they believe in your project.
That's fantastic. It's so obvious from these core updates now that it's all about authority and subject matter expertise. And most of the people that got crashed and burned through this have content update are just the ones That means they also put in a lot of effort, granted, but they are the ones who purely do it for affiliate commissions, or they don't really invest the time to double check these piece of content. And, I have plenty of people who posted 20 articles a day for, a month just to see a spike, but then obviously it crashed afterward. Personally, I don't know if I would invest this much time for a brand I don't believe in, or a brand that I don't represent. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
People do it for funsies, but I'm like, I do other stuff for fun.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, if they're doing for fun and for the experiment, yeah, why not? I mean, if you have some time to waste, I can say, yeah, why not? But if you're just chasing the money, you're doing the wrong thing. I mean, yeah, it drove me nuts. Actually, a lot of people in the SEO space have been complaining about Google algorithm lately. I mean, all the, things they put into place. I'm actually happy about it because it got rid of all the people that were there for the wrong reasons. And especially in the supplement industry, you have no idea, because I also work.
Oh yeah, I do. Like, it's
Right?
insane.
It's just writing an article just to make sure I get a commission on a product they don't believe in, they've never tried. And this is just crazy. And one thing to tell you, and that's important as well, is we're selling some products or some benefits. Studies are showing that it's not working. It's working for other things, but not for a particular benefit. We will never put it forward. Actually, we're going to be very transparent with our readers by telling them, yeah, that product, if you want to use it for this, it's not working. And I think that this transparency helped us a lot as well to build this authority and credibility in the space, because people realize, oh yeah, they're not just here to sell us a supplement. They're here because they genuinely want to help us. And that's the key, I think.
Correct. What is other stuff that, okay, we talked about like not taking EAT seriously, not really investing time in the content. Are there other issues that SEOs get wrong in the nutrition and supplement space?
Yeah, I think the problem is that they're trying to copy everybody else. And I'm pretty sure any SEO person has heard that. When you wanna rank on Google, you just take the first 5 articles, you just crop their title and content, and you make a master article to outrank them. And again, it might work on the short term, but in the long term, that's not sustainable. First of all, your readers are gonna quickly find out that you don't bring any value, and then second of all, even Google is gonna find out that you don't bring any value. And I think this difference is, you obviously have to find some SEO keywords because that's what people are looking for. Problem is, if you're writing articles that no one wants to read, it's not going to get you anything, even though we've been using that for some articles of ours and it has worked wonders, but you need to have already a base of readers. And then you have to put the article with your own angle. And that's where, and I go back to the same thing, but it's true, when you're an expert in the area or the topic, you know exactly what to talk about, you know the angle. And when there's a study, you also know the limitation of the study. And that's what makes a difference, instead of just like copying what's out there.
Do you have your own company research team that does data studies, or do you have a way to outsource this?
We outsource part of it, and then we analyze all the studies. I mean, every time I'm crafting an article, I'm almost reading every single study there is on the topic before I write. And I think it's really important.
What sources would you recommend people to get to? I know Google Scholar is a good start, but do you do like Perplexity or something?
Usually, simple research, what I usually do, it's funny when I put like scholarly article, and then I put the keyword of what I'm looking for. So if it was gaining muscle, I would put, for example, a scholarly article and then gaining muscle. And then you would find all the studies about that keyword. And then I would scan all of them, because the thing is, the problem with AI, I've been using it obviously to try to accelerate my work, is that sometimes it gives you false information. So
it does, yeah.
Even if you can use it, you always have to double check. And once again, that's why, like, if you're not an expert, you might not understand the study in the first place. That's why you need to understand what you're talking about.
Okay. You know what? Like, that's why I feel like SEO had become like another bachelor degree, because this is what we do in bachelor degree, right? Like, you go to university and you have to read some papers and you have to like summarize and also argue against it. Like, that's what SEO is now, just to create unique content. You need to compare sources. You have to draw like obvious, like unbiased opinions, bring in your own experience if you can. But yeah, like I feel like some people who struggle with SEO now is also people who struggle to just keep academia going with academia.
I think people also they take SEO as just the one thing, but it should be part of 360 degrees marketing. It's part of the whole business, just one aspect of the business. Copywriting is as important as SEO. So it's like B2B if you have B2B in your business. And I think
Yeah.
it's, unless you have an agency, if you're just relying on your business to be only SEO, you're not going to go any far, especially now.
I totally agree. And I see that the industry, I run a big SEO conference, so I do talk to a lot of SEOs, and I just see that like many SEOs are just becoming overall marketers, like growth marketers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about content. We talked about a lot about research. What do you think about link building? In my mind, link building has become more important due to AI overviews and people shifting to LLMs to search for answers. So in my mind, whoever has the most authority and relevancy will be featured in these AI overviews. But that's just my thinking. What do you think?
I agree as well. I mean, Google has always said that authority was not a ranking factor, but we know for sure that that's a lie. I mean, it is one of the most important, and that makes sense to me. That's the only way you can vouch for a website, even though the system could be rigged, because obviously you can pay for links. The thing is, you have to find a metric to rank this website. And it's like you, like if I tell you that you should buy this supplement, you tend to trust me more than someone who's never worked out. And that makes sense. And so that's kind of the same thing, you know. If so many big websites that have so much power and credibility in the space are vouching for your website, there's a high probability that your website is good too. So yeah, that's very important. And with AI, that's true. I've seen it, and we've seen the connection. I mean, because at some point they said that, you know, with AI and stuff, that link building and authority was kind of dying, but absolutely not true. I mean, I'm seeing every day you have to turn your profile. You have to have authority to stand out, especially because, as we were saying, there's so many websites with people with no expertise whatsoever. It's so dangerous now. So you need to have, again, one metric to measure that, and that's authority through link building.
Exactly. Do you have any best practices to consistently gain links to your site? Like good links, of course. Let's just not talk about cheap Fiverr links here.
No, exactly. Well, it's to search them by hand. I mean, I know it might be time consuming, but that's the best way. That's how you find like the best links. You have to find the one that are related to your niche or whatever, you know, industry or topic you want to. And the website also has to be on a growing path and not going down, because that's not going to help your website. And highly relevant. I mean, it sounds easy, but because that's what it is. There's nothing complicated behind it. It's just finding the website relevant to your niche on whatever aspect of business you want. For example, us, that would be health, but that will also be sports. Then website with already some authority and going up. And as long as you get this website, and again, being regular, that's what we're talking, you know, about publishing content. So if you have regular website linking to you, well, it's going to work.
Do you invest a lot in like PR? Do you see that digital PR is something that people should do, or it's not really?
They could. The thing is,
it tends to be very expensive.
Exactly. Actually, the digital PR is more of our communication department. So they kind of overlap with our SEO. So it's more about the PR, is more about letting people know about the brand, which is more like citation flow more than trust flow, if I might say, you know. That's how we use it.
All right. So I have some other questions. You have a family, right? I did a little research. So I also have a really ambitious brother who is also a dad, and I see him succeeding with balancing fitness and having a family and running a business. But I know a lot of people find it challenging. What's your advice for them?
To make it part of their life, and to do this, they have to know why, deep at the core, why they're doing it. That's the most important thing. You have to make the shift between like, I'm working out just because everyone is working out, or because I want to look like that guy. I know that's how I started, but I completely shifted very quickly on, I want to do it for my health. And that's exactly what happened. Is it's part of my belief. And the thing is, once you start working out for your health and you train that way and you become more functional, more flexible and stronger, the feeling is just insane. I mean, I'm saying this to everyone around me. I literally feel like Superman. I feel great, energized. I'm never tired, even if I go to bed a little bit late, because everything is on point. And that feeling is just outstanding. And, you know, you can have all the money in the world, all the relationship in the world. If your health is not on point, it's going to be hard. You know, health is one of the most important aspects of your life. And sports has been backed by, with science, is one of the most important aspects, and sports is helping a big way in this. And so if you
Mhm.
make it part of your life because you know it's really good for you, but you have to feel it and it becomes part of
Yeah.
your lifestyle, then you're going to be fine. You're going to find the time, because it's all about finding time at the end. We're all finding excuses. Everyone can find 30 minutes to 45 minutes per day. That's how
Yeah.
long it takes me to work out. I don't work out more than 45 minutes, 1 hour top. And some of my workout 30 minutes. So you can definitely find 30 minutes. Even if you have a crazy job that takes you half hours, you can take 30 minutes of your time. But to make it happen, you have to understand why you're doing it.
I think that making it a belief is probably like one of the hardest things someone can do, because it's just that if you don't like it, you don't believe in it, kind of thing. So I think that I love how your answer kind of gave a bigger picture reason for people to do it, and not like, hacks or everything, but also be encouraging by saying, you know what, if you just put in like 30 minutes a day, you're already ahead of yourself, as if you didn't do anything, right? So guys, I'm going to do like 10 squats and 10 push-ups after this, I think, probably.
Seriously, I mean, again, there's even a study saying that 13 minutes of workout per day can really improve. 13 minutes, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, with 13 minutes, you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But again, if you listen to what I said, that's not the goal. You're trying to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And the physiques come after, and it's part of the thing, but it's becoming healthy. And so dedicating 15 minutes to 30 minutes for your health, and when you reap the benefit of it, I swear you don't want to go back, and you want to keep doing it every day.
Exactly. Amazing. Nikias, thank you so much for joining the show. Before I let you go, there's one more question. If you were to go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't worry, everything's going to be all right. And just trust the process and enjoy life.
Amen. What a great way to finish the show. Well, Nikias, I will link down all the contact details for you guys to contact him. And thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Annie. That was a real pleasure.